What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and I am very excited because today I am joined by none other than the brand new WWE Evolve Women's Champion. Please welcome Kendal Grey. Kendal,
Mhm.
welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on and get to know you a little bit more. First of all, congratulations on being Evolve Women's Champion. How do you feel right now, even simply like holding up the belt, being out here doing media, all the things that a champion does?
It's so cool. Honestly, it's just a great feeling. I feel like since I've got here, I've been working so hard, and I feel like it's finally paying off, and it's just a stepping stone in my journey here in WWE. But it feels great. No complaints at all.
Yeah, isn't it sort of like surreal because like you work
Yes.
and you work towards these moments and then
Mhm.
when they finally happen it's like, "Oh my god, here it is." So that moment when you won the title, how did that like specific moment feel?
It's definitely a moment that I will never, ever, ever forget. I just remember, after the ref counted one, two, three, I just remember just sitting there and just taking that moment in and just hearing the crowd and like it just yeah, it gives me chills, like literally thinking about it. But it's definitely a moment that I will never ever forget.
Oh my God. Well, congratulations. Let's go ahead and like kind of talk a lot about like what's been going on. So, first of all, you kicked ass in the battle royal that we just saw on NXT, and you made it into, I think it was like the final five, final four, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How did you feel getting to be there and make it as far as you did? Because I don't think like you kind of surprised people making it all the way to like the very end. People were like, oh, okay, Kendal Grey, let's see what she's all about. And I was thinking that, and then I saw you go out there. I'm like, yo, Kendal Grey, hello, welcome to NXT. And I know you've made previous NXT appearances before, but that was a really great moment for you. How did you feel in the Battle Royal?
Yeah, I think it was a great opportunity for me because I have been working hard and obviously, I've been wrestling on Evolve, but it gave me an opportunity to really test my skills against the best woman in the NXT division. And I feel like people didn't expect me to last that long. And, people look at me and they see like a smaller girl, probably a girl that should be at your local Starbucks asking if you want extra foam on your latte. So they don't expect what I bring to the table or what I do in the ring. They don't expect it from me. But it's great. It was so cool. And I think, that's one thing about me is that you might not expect it, but I'm definitely, when I step into that ring, that switch, I flip that switch and I'm ready to go. So
In a way, that's what makes it special, though. Like seeing
Mhm.
you go out there and you're like, okay, like what's she all about? And then suddenly you're grabbing people's attention. Like that's a really great thing to do because grabbing people's attention is a way to get people to one, notice you and, continue your career. And that got you, right now it's only the beginning as Evolve champion. So you're off to a really good start. So, you've made previous NXT appearances before, but you're obviously down and over and Evolve. For you, like you've been working, you've been hustling, that got you the championship. How has Evolve helped you since your time there?
it's really given me confidence. You know what I'm saying? Coming from an athletic background, I didn't really have experience like doing indie shows or anything like that. Coming 2 years ago to the Performance Center was the first time that I ever stepped into the ring. And, having an amateur wrestling background has helped, but I never stepped into the ring. It's so different still. So I feel like it really gave me an opportunity to find myself and find who I am every time I step into that ring. And every time I stepped into that ring, I get more and more confident. And I think that's really, Evolve has really helped me find that and find who Kendal Grey is every time I step into the ring and, just, enjoy it, enjoy those moments and kind of finding purpose every time I step into that ring and finding comfortability every time I step into that ring.
It's so important to get that confidence. And I feel like the more you do, the more you train, the more you wrestle, the more you do build up that confidence. And hearing you say, like, first time in the actual ring, 2023 in WWE, like, that's not that, like, that's like what, 2 years ago, less than 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago? That's insane.
Yeah.
And for you to like already be like moving and grooving and doing your thing it's a lot. So I kind of want to go back to what you said right now, where you said you had some amateur wrestling background.
Mm-hmm.
And what other sports did you do that you think helped you to get over here to this next level?
Yeah. So growing up, I kind of jumped around from sport to sport to sport until I was like about 11. But I would say when I first started doing sports when I was like 2 years old, I started with gymnastics. And I did that from like 2 to 4 because I eventually quit because I was like crying because it was hurting me. But like push down my legs, like trying to get me more flexible. And I'm like, yeah, I hate this. I hate this. But I would say gymnastics was definitely something that I think every kid should probably do. Like if I ever have kids, like that's probably the first sport that I'll put them in because I feel like it helps so much with like body awareness and kind of like learning your body. So I would say I feel like that has helped me, but also when I was 11, I started doing MMA and kind of did like judo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing. And then eventually I started wrestling at 14 when I got to high school. But I think all those combined, it has helped so much when I step into the ring with just combat sports, with physical sports, the physicality. Like I love that. I love physicality. And, that's something that I feel like really has helped me, perform the way I do in WWE.
Yeah, hearing you say that, I'm like, oh, she's a badass because I'm like, okay, at 11 years old, you're doing all of this stuff. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's so much.
Yeah.
And usually, like the stereotype, right? I hate to say this because I fit the stereotype on this one, but I'm like, oh, I'm like, super girly and like too
Yeah.
scared to do anything. And hearing you say that at 14, that's freshman year in high school.
Yeah.
You're out there in amateur wrestling, which is pretty much dominated by boys.
Oh, yeah.
So when you go in there,
male dominant sport for sure, and I went to high school, there was no females at all. Like I was on a men's team. I was wrestling against guys in the 106-pound weight class. So I was like one of the only females in the state of Nevada alone to wrestle against guys and stuff. So I love it though. Like I love that. Like I love, there's people telling me, oh, you shouldn't wrestle or girls don't wrestle. And I love finding those doubters and like proving them wrong. Because even when people look at me, like they see me as like a smaller girl, they think I'm super girly. But like, yeah, maybe I look like that, but that's not what you get. What you see is not what you get. Because I was the girl in middle school wearing my brother's clothes to school or trying to be like my brother. I was so tomboy growing up. And I think that's like something that's really, I don't know. My inner Kendal Grey is a tomboy. I was a dirty kid growing up. I love physicality. I had a cage fight at like 12 years old. I just loved it. I just love that stuff. So being on the men's team was very natural for me. I was one of the bros. I loved it.
I like that because hearing you say that, I can like visualize your younger self. Like I can see the spirit because if you like when you have guts, like that's honest to God, like you have guts to go out there and do all of those sports, but also in a place where you're not seeing other girls and you might be like, okay, like am I doing this right? Like should I be doing this? But you went out there and you did do that, and look at you now. So through the amateur wrestling and getting to wrestle all the boys and stuff, do you think that made you like a better competitor in a way? Like it had to, right?
For sure, for sure. I think, starting so I started MMA at 11, but starting wrestling, I was at 14. And that's pretty old, like older for people to start wrestling, especially if they want to take it to the next level. But I think being on the men's team and competing against the men has really like pushed me to be a better wrestler, a better athlete. Being against guys, they were always stronger than me. So I had to find different ways to win. And I had to find my speed or technicality. Like I couldn't rely on strength because I wasn't strong compared to them. So it really pushed me. And then also being on a guy's team and having a guy coach, and he treated me like the guys. He didn't treat me different. He would scream at me. He would, there was things that mentally, I look back and I'm like, how did I handle that? Like that is crazy. But that's really helped me like mentally and physically be the best athlete that I could possibly be. And I'm so grateful to have that experience,
Yes. Oh my God. So, like, how did your parents, were they, because it seemed, I mean, if you're already doing like MMA at 11 years old and you just said a cage fight at 12, they weren't really that surprised by your career choices. But what is that? Do they have a background in sports that they were so easily allowing you to go and just, do it? Like, that's awesome.
So my father, he was super into sports, but he did baseball. And I think he always told me, he's like, I wish I wrestled. I wish I did this. So I feel like me doing that kind of like he loved it because he wished he'd wrestled sometimes. So I think my whole family kind of bonded through sports in general. So I think they really enjoyed me just doing what I love. They always were supportive. Whatever I wanted to do in life, they just want me to be happy. And if I love it, they love it. So, I'm super grateful to have very supportive parents.
So you do all this stuff in high school, you do everything, before that. Now, how did the turn of events come for you to say, hey, I'm going to go to WWE. I'm going to go, become an actual professional wrestler. How did that whole decision come about? And also, getting the opportunity, trying out, because it's not just, hey, I want to do it. And they're like, yeah, hey, come on in. No, you got to actually try out and do a bunch of other stuff. So what was that whole journey like?
So I went to college for women's wrestling, and women's wrestling is a smaller sport. It's still very, it's growing. Not many people even knew women's wrestling was a thing. Like when I tell people, oh yeah, I wrestled in college, they're like, huh? That's a thing? I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. But it's very small. So, when I kind of got in contact with WWE, it was through the NIL program. And NIL doesn't really, not just with WWE, but it's more common for them to look at the best top athletes at NCAA level. So NAIA is not really looked at too much. So I kind of have to give credit through to Julius Creed, because with wrestling community, he wrestled in colleges. The wrestling community is kind of small. So after I won, I think it was like my second or third national title, he was like, oh, when you're done, WWE next. And I was like, I thought he was joking. I did not know this would be like an opportunity. So I was like, yeah, totally. And he's like, no, I'm being so like for real. If you're interested, like I'll get you in contact with them. And it kind of like took off through there. And then after I graduated, I had to weigh out pros and cons because I did have an idea of trying to go for the Olympics. And then I did have this opportunity. So I kind of weighed out pros and cons of like what I wanted to do. And I chose to try out for WWE. And then I came and tried out. And ever since then, I loved it. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. But even at my tryout, so for wrestling, it's a weight cut sport. So you have to be very, very, like, I was wrestling at 109 pounds. Very small. And I am still small. I'm still trying to gain weight and still get bigger, but I was super small. So when I came to my tryout, I know there was concerns like, oh, she's really small. Like maybe her wrist can break. And I'm like, no, I swear. Like I promise, like I had to cut weight my whole life. Since I was 11 years old, I've been cutting weight. I've never been at a normal weight. I want to get bigger. I want to do this. So I think I had to bet on myself, and they kind of had to take a risk on me to see, like, can she handle it? Can she handle stepping into the ring? And I feel like they took a risk, but I hope, I'm showing that I am taking this serious and I love this and I'm so passionate about it. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be here.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I'm just like, that is so cool. And you still went to college, you still did your thing, and then made the decision. Do you have any regrets about not heading and making your direction over to the Olympics, or you're like, no, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be?
I think this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. When I came here, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was for me, if it wasn't for me, but since the first day I stepped into the ring, I haven't looked back. I want to do this as long as I possibly can. I love this. I'm so passionate about it. And I feel like that's one reason why I work so hard. I come in here trying to get better every single day, trying to perfect my craft, trying to, get better at every aspect of this job. And I think that's, I'm so grateful to be here. I don't look back at anything and have no regrets.
So you mentioned the tryout and your size kind of being a little bit of like, hey, is she going to make it? Is she going to be all right?
Yeah.
But what was your like experience once you actually hit the ring? Because I've seen like some of the tryouts that WWE has done, and I'm like, yo, these are next level humans, because I can't do nothing that they're doing in there. And so when you're going around and they're having you do all of the things that they have you do, how did you feel like, oh, this is easy, I got this? Was it challenging? What were your favorite parts and what were the hardest parts?
I would say so with wrestling, like amateur wrestling, coming from a college athlete, like wrestling background, you're used to like the dynamic kind of warm up stuff, like the rolls and the backward rolls and the cartwheels. So I was like very comfortable in that little part of the tryout. But I think one thing, I never had to run ropes. Those things hurt. When I did it the first couple days of the tryout, I was bruised. It looked like someone hit me with like literally a metal bat. Like I did not expect it. I thought they were like little, like just regular ropes. I didn't expect it, but like those were definitely a challenge, running the ropes. So I was like, yo, what the heck? I did not expect that. And then obviously, like, with college wrestling, you're on a wrestling mat, not in a ring. So the ring itself, it just was so different. Just having to like take bumps and like get used to that ring and the ropes. I would say that was like the bigger challenge. And then obviously, like for me growing up, wrestlers like in college and stuff, we don't really talk that much. Like we're very stoic, kind of like very locked in, show no emotion type of people. So I feel like that was a big challenge for me at the tryout too, is kind of like the talking and stuff. And I feel like that's something I still have to for sure get better at and like grow in. But I'm excited to get out of my comfort zone and, get better at something that I never knew I had to do.
Well, I was gonna say you're doing great right now. Like, I love hearing your stories. I'm just like, that is so cool, and getting to hear your insight on, the tryouts and stuff. It makes me feel like, oh my God, it makes us feel like we're there. And I feel like the listeners feel that same way too. Like, oh damn, like would we make it? So you're doing all of this stuff. You're running the ropes, you're getting in the ring, all of that. Did you know, like, okay, I got this in the bag? Or when you actually found out, like, hey, we're bringing you on board, were you surprised at all?
I was surprised, honestly. Like, I felt like I had confidence in what I can bring to the table and, like, athletically what I can do and stuff. But this is such a new ball game. I never done this before. So, and when I had those doubts of like when they were saying, oh, she's a little bit smaller, and like I said, like my talking skills weren't very great, I was like, I left the tryout and I was like, oh my gosh, I just like I'm not getting it. Like I literally was like, I'm done. That was it. I'm like, I did not expect it. So when I did get the call saying like they're gonna offer me a contract, it was a moment that I literally could never forget. I remember sitting at the edge of my bed. I got a call. I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh. I was like, wait, 5, 4. I took a big breath and I was like, okay, let me answer it. And it was just like, I remember the moment. And, I'm so grateful for this opportunity and I'm just so happy to be here.
It was just all meant to be from the sounds of it. Like, hey, like it happened, you did the thing, and you did enough in that tryout to get you signed. And now it's like, you go from there, right? You take the steps to make it all the way to the top. So Kendal, now you're in WWE, you're signed, you're part of this, you're part of Evolve, you're doing NXT Level Up, some NXT experiences. So there's a lot happening, right? There's a lot of moving parts. But you mentioned your background in amateur wrestling, but we all know, better, that, hey, for being a WWE superstar, it takes more than that, right? Like you mentioned the promos and the superstardom and all of that. So who have you spoken to? What's like the hands-on training now? Have you had like any mentors or female wrestlers or male wrestlers or the people in the back and creative, all those people that work with everybody? Who's been giving you like advice and mentorship to, fully develop yourself as a WWE superstar?
I think honestly, everybody in the performance center, as far as like coaches, training partners, creative team, like they are all so helpful and has helped me so much in so many ways. And I'm so grateful to have that like support system. But I would say one of the coaches that I can give a lot of credit to would be Sean Spears. He has helped me so much when it comes to like developing me and developing my style of wrestling every time I step into that ring and just trying to find those moments for Kendal Grey. So I feel like I can give a lot of credit for him, but there's so many, truthfully, every single coach here, every person here has helped me in so many ways. And I can give credit to all of them if I could list it would take forever, but I could list all of them because I truly think that everybody in this building has pushed me to be a better version of myself inside and outside of the ring. And I can give credit to literally all of them. And I'm so happy to like have that experience and have people around me constantly supporting me and wanting the best for me.
It's a gold mine of people that you can talk to and pick some knowledge on and just continue to grow. And you grow in so many ways, like observing, all of that. It really does help out a whole lot.
For sure.
So, one of the things that we kind of like skipped over, but I do want to get like your thoughts on the, or not your thoughts, but your story on this is, you mentioned Julius being like, hey, this is a real possibility. You can go and become a WWE wrestler. Were you ever a fan before, or did you become a fan as you were pursuing it?
No. So when I was younger, actually, I have an older brother. but we used to play like the Battle Royal games or the Royal Rumble games. And we literally used to argue all the time about like who's going to be the Undertaker, who's going to be John Cena. And that was like a core memory, like a childhood memory of mine, is playing with my older brother, playing those games. And then I do also have memories of my father taking me and my brother to like some events, like WWE events. So I actually have a photo when I was like, I think under like 10 years old, of me wearing a "You Can't See Me" chain at a SmackDown event. So it's a full circle moment that now I'm here. But so growing up, I was a fan. And then I kind of like I didn't watch it when I was like in middle school. I say from middle school, I didn't kind of watch it. And then when Julius Creed kind of reached out to me, that's kind of when it brought it back into my life. So I give a lot of credit for to Julius too, for helping me, be here now and giving me like helping me get this opportunity. And I give a lot of credit to him too.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I'm sure you've thought back to this, been like, oh my God, I was just a little girl at a show, something that for a while I hadn't revisited. And now here I am. It was like, it followed you, like it
Mhm.
did not let you go. And how do you like, it's crazy when you think about that, right?
It is because I remember like when I was a kid watching it and playing those games, I thought it was so cool. I mean, it's literally so cool still to me. It's so cool. But like as a kid, I never knew that could be an opportunity. Like I never knew I could be a superstar one day. I never knew I could possibly give those little kids now that same feeling that I got when I was playing the games or when I was watching it. And I never knew I could have that opportunity, but it is a really full circle moment, and it's a dream come true now that I'm here.
So now I know this is a generic question, but everybody gets asked it as your favorites, of course, because I feel like your favorite wrestlers say a lot about you. They say a lot about the potential wrestler that you can be, but not just your favorite wrestlers, but also some of the wrestlers that maybe you've emulated, whether it's like promos or even just like style or in-ring style, just kind of a little bit of everything.
So my favorite like wrestlers, I would say I have like a ton, but my top couple would be for selling, like would be Shawn Michaels. Like I look at like when it comes to selling and stuff, like Shawn Michaels is like top dog for that. I love Shawn Michaels, and then I would say Kurt Angle for sure is one of my favorite wrestlers. I love him. I love his story. Every time I need like motivation or just to get more motivated, I literally watch his documentary on Peacock, Angle, all the time. I watch it all the time because I think his story is so inspiring, and just like having that same like similarity of like a background in like amateur wrestling and then transferring it over here. Obviously, I don't have a gold medal in the Olympics, but but anyways, I would like to like hopefully be like a female Kurt Angle. Like there's not many females here in WWE that come from an amateur wrestling background. So I do look up to Kurt Angle a lot. I watch a lot of his videos, a lot of his matches, his promo, everything. I watch a lot of his like work for sure. Another one I watch is like Rey Mysterio because I am a smaller, like in size, I am a little bit smaller. So I do watch Rey Mysterio a lot just to see how he kind of used his size to his advantage and stuff. So I watch him a lot, but there's so many that I love. And then Rhea, like she's one of my favorites. Like I think she's so badass. She's so cool. Like it kind of gave me that childhood, like tomboy, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of, it gives me that, like, oh, I feel that, like that's me internally. So I love her too. So.
I gotta tell you, I feel like you just like earned like a zillion brownie points with me because Kurt Angle's my all-time favorite wrestler.
Really?
So hearing you
Oh,
like, and here's the thing, like I feel a lot of times people always kind of mention like the same names when you ask them like your top favorite wrestlers or who's the greatest of all time. And I'm like always waiting for people to be like Kurt Angle. And that's a name you hear, but not as often as some other names. So I'm like, yo, Kurt Angle's the shit. So whenever people like put him
yes,
over like that, I'm like, you get it. You get
yes,
it. So
I do.
hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my God, she gets it.
No, he's awesome. And and people probably like, oh, well, they have the same background, of course. But I don't even think it's just that. Like, I think everything he did was so great. Like in ring, the way he spoke, he was funny. He had it all. Like he could do it all. And that's what I inspire to do is like be comfortable to do it all. Like, and I think Kurt Angle was like a prime example of being good at everything. He did it all. He was amazing. Like, and yeah, I don't know. And when he comes out, you just feel like it's I don't know. I light up when I watch his stuff. So
I love that. Oh my God, hell yeah. All right. Well, shout out to Kurt Angle on this interview, by the way. Much deserved. So, Kendall, I do kind of want to get an idea of, who are you outside of wrestling? So we know you have like this tomboyish side of you, and you've done
Mhm.
all of these, different sports and whatnot, and you're here and you're busting your ass at Evolve. But who are you outside of wrestling? Like, how would you describe yourself, as well as like how you spend your time when you're not working, when you're not working out, when you're not doing all the things you have to do?
Well, well, if there's something about me, I'm very much a perfectionist. I am obsessive of things, and I feel like I'm very obsessed with this workplace. I'm very obsessed with WWE now that I'm in it. And I think even when I'm outside of work, my brain is constantly working, like what I can do better, what I can do this. So I think a lot of my time still, even outside of work, still goes into this. But I would say the person outside of work is, I don't know, I'm a chill girl. I'm a cool girl. I like to, I'm a homebody. I really do like to be home. That's something I like, my like time to relax and detox. I read a couple books sometimes. I like to tan. I like to be outside. I love to do outdoors things. Like I love snowboarding. I love wakeboarding. I love surfing. Like everything outdoors, hiking, like all that, skydiving. I'm adrenaline dump. Like, or I love
Oh
adrenaline.
my
I love
God.
that. So anything outdoors I really do enjoy. But I'm chill. I can do it all.
I love how you said, "Oh, I'm a homebody," but yeah, I go skydiving. I'm like, "Okay, girl." I'm like, "That's totally different."
Okay, it is different. But I'm very, like, maybe I'm very selective. Like if I can feel at home and be happiest like ever. I can be at home chilling, I can be happy. But if my friends call me like, "Hey, you want to go skydiving?" I'm like, "Yeah." If you want to go snowboarding, yeah. You want to go hiking? Yeah, of course. I'm like down to do anything, but I don't have to do everything. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, you
Maybe
gotta live your life and try shit out, right? And
yeah,
do cool things and see
right.
where it takes you. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Oh my gosh. Kendall, we're almost wrapping up this interview. I have one final question. This is a question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
And that is, your short and long-term goals in and out of the business.
Ooh. Short and long term, in and out of the business. So okay, I'll start outside of the business. Short term outside of the business. That's hard. There's so many. Just I would just say find, short term outside of the business. I would like to be like super confident in talking. Just more like just love talking. I love to talk. Like love to communicate and just be a better communicator. I would say that would be a short term outside of the business, and I guess inside of the business too, but just be more confident in that. Long term, I would say, without my parents, I truthfully don't think I could be where I'm at today. When it comes to them taking me to tournaments, to paying for fees for tournaments, paying for gear. And I would say this was a goal of mine for years and years now, would be so successful in anything that I do. One, to make them proud, but also to pay them back in some way. I would say that would be one of my top long-term goals, for sure, for a while now. That's been since I was young, just to pay back my parents for everything, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be where I'm at today, for
I
sure.
love that. I think everybody here can relate to that, because we're all working towards something, striving for something to, like, give back to the people that helped us get here. So honestly, more power to you, Kendall. It was so nice to get to know you, myself, and then everybody here getting to know you just a little bit more is really incredible. Tell the people where they can follow you, as well as where they can watch Evolve.
Okay, so you can follow me on all social platforms at Kendal Grey WWE. Evolve, tune in on Tubi every Wednesday. Tubi is free, so y'all can watch it anytime. On Tubi on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Perfect. I'm going to post all of the links in the description box below, where you guys can
Oh,
watch
and
Evolve.
YouTube internationally.
Oh, good
Sorry,
to
you don't
know.
want to keep
Yes,
it out.
yes, yes. I'm going to post all of those links below, and also where you guys can follow Kendall. Kendall, thank you so much for doing this interview. Thank you to everybody watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Thank you.